Hello, this is Victoria Vives Kwong with Earth Sky People Radio and Earth Sky People TV. And today I'm here with a wonderful, wise woman. She's an author and she's also a teacher. She has a wide range of experience in Kundalini Yoga, relationships, divinized sexuality. So that is so appreciated at this time of shift in our collective. And her name is Anaiya Sophia. So please welcome our guest, Anaiya.
Hey, Victoria, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so really inspired by your work. I saw a lot of content on internet about different sacred sexuality and tantra yoga, but it is always kind of missing a very important aspect. And I feel that you are bringing that to the table, which is the Christed consciousness. Would you share about this, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, sexuality and relationships and ecstasy, so like a Christed ecstasy, these energies have been with me since I was a child.
Wow.
And so as I grew up, obviously I come to hear of the terminology Tantra, and I began to explore that in London, and then I began to explore it in a more European way, and then eventually along the west coast of the States. And every time I went, I found myself saying, this is not it. Something is missing. And then I realized that what I was tapping into was what people call neo-tantra. So it's like a tantra that's come to the West. And for me, what was missing was this sacred heart, this Christ presence. And I kept looking and I kept looking and I just did not find. And eventually I heard this little voice inside of me saying, you have to open up this space. You have to present this, or at least, you know, facilitate this potential. And so I did. I just took what I had and just let that Christed energy just extend from the heart with no real training. So I haven't been trained by anyone.
Wow.
I'm really just following what's inside and bringing that Christed presence into this very intimate, sexual, and now, as the years have passed, more mystical work.
Wow. And you are also a priestess of the Mary Magdalene order, is that correct?
Yes, it's the Holy Order of Miriam of Magdala.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I feel that, you know, I really want to discover all this information because I grew up as a Catholic and as a Christian, and obviously my relationship with Jesus has completely changed.
Yes.
But I feel there is so much misinformation about these themes, and especially when it comes to sexuality. As a collective, we have suffered so much misinformation and wrong concepts, and this is a sin, and all these things that we really need to resolve. So what would you recommend for us to start really understanding how beautiful and divine sexuality can be?
Well, I began by looking at the more mystical aspects of Mary Magdalene. So I turned to like the Gnostic Christian tradition, which is where you'll find the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, Gospel of Thomas, Gospel of Philip. And that's where I met the essence of Mary Magdalene. So when I close my eyes and go inward, that is what I'm picking up on, that more Gnostic thread. And the more you open to her, or the feminine Christ in all her expressions, Holy Sophia, Mother Mary, Veronica, Mary Magdalene, Mary Salome, they're all there. And they're all directly accessible.
Wow.
And by getting into the Gnostic consciousness, that's where I found those mystical doorways. Through prayer, through meditation, and simply just by asking her to come. And, you know, you don't have to ask too many times before she shows up. It's a very real presence.
So are you seeing this paradigm shift truly coming to us? Do you feel that we can truly make it? Sometimes it feels very complex, and it feels that it needs a lot of us to transform. And right now, the way in which, for example, the media works and how we understand sexuality, how are we going to make this transformation?
Well, again, I can only answer from my own journey, and the journey I'm taking is to really utilize and activate my inner masculine and feminine energy, and making sure that I can access both without a problem. And then I truly believe that we can only make it if we can also find the same sacred union with our brothers. So male and female completely working together. And then finally understanding that God, in a really true heartfelt way, is both mother and father.
Right.
And if we can find that comfort deep within, so within this comfort within ourselves, the comfort within our relationships, and the comfort with our true parent, then maybe we will become innocent and humble enough to actually get through the eye of the needle.
You know, and that's something I really appreciate about you, that you are very humble, very down to earth, very transparent. So I feel that a big part of this work is to truly be vulnerable and understand that this is something that we don't need to hide anymore, because we all share the same problems in a sense.
Absolutely. We all feel all the same feelings. You know, there's like five sufferings on the planet: isolation, judgment, betrayal, abandonment, separation. Every single one of our problems, from people in Africa to Japan to England to the States, they can all fit in those 5 baskets.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
We can truly relate to each other, help each other, and do it together as we are one in reality, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
And how your work also envelops part of childbirth, is that correct?
Yes, yeah, of course, with sexuality, of course. I mean, I myself haven't had a child. This is something I haven't chosen to experience in this lifetime. So me personally, I don't have that much information. I can help, you know, I can help the womb to become open and activated and healthy. But when it comes to the childbirthing aspect, I can only really share the mystical parts. I can't share the human parts. So that's where, you know, another woman will come in. My forte is mostly sexuality, intimacy, relationship, and the mystical aspects of feminine spirituality.
Right. Yeah, I just feel that one of the things that we are not allowing to be sacred in our societies right now is childbirth.
Yes.
So bringing that awareness of how it can become something sacred again, I feel
right.
so cool.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, very important. Okay, so one of the other things that I really would like to know is about your books. You are an author, is that correct?
That's right. I think I can't remember. So I've got about 5 or 6 books out there.
Wow!
Every year I write another one.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. You know, I really want to write a book, but I feel it's something serious and requires a lot of commitment.
Yes, it does. And I feel very much connected with sexuality.
Oh.
The sexual center and the throat, the expression,
okay,
are absolutely hand in hand. And I really believe, because remember about 2,000 years ago, the scribes, back in the time of Yeshua, the scribes were mostly male. They were writing down the stories, the culture, the traditions. Now, the return of the feminine, I believe, I feel that it's the feminine that is now going to be telling the stories, writing down the traditions, the cultures, the paradigm shifts. So it's like as the women open up sexually and in their womb, suddenly they realize there's this book inside of them, and they are, you know, full of ecstasy. They have to write.
How wonderful.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I would like for you to share about your latest book and how the inspiration came to you and what are you sharing in it?
Well, the latest book that's actually out at the moment is Sacred Sexual Union. And this is based on that mystical sexual rite. Some people call it Eros Gamos. Some people call it Sacred Union. Others call it the Bridal Chamber. So it's this mystical sexual union between male and female energies in the human body and between human and divine. So it's like two marriages.
Yeah.
A woman and human and divine. So I've been researching that, and there's not a lot left, but there's a fair bit between the Queen of Sheba and King Solomon. So there's a few scriptures out there that describe this ritual, and what I've done is kind of like pieced it together in my own way and presented it in Sacred Sexual Union, as well as a 9-month preparation period that I devised, coming very much from this day and age. You know, what circumstances do we face now as male and female? You know, the intergender wounding, the heartbreak, the suspicion, the distrust, blah, blah, blah. So that's that one. That one you can pretty much buy anywhere. But the one I'm actually working on is called Divinized Sexuality. It's the birth of the divine human through sacred relationship.
Oh.
So this one is about totally realizing the full potential of what is on offer when you meet your match consciously and lovingly in the other as your partner. Because the day of the guru, the day of the teacher is fading. You know, that dynamic is fading. This is part of the old paradigm. The new paradigm is meeting your beloved in the body, in your face, with trust and humility. You absolutely get through whatever it is that keeps showing up and sending you back into separation and disgust. But you have to be with someone who is holding that same level as you.
Right.
And the problem one can make is to go into relationship to save someone. You know, where the balance is obviously out of alignment. And we might do that because of unworthiness and issues like that, which I know very well. So for these relationships to really work, you need someone of the same caliber, the same courage, and the same commitment. So it's like the 3 C's, caliber, courage, and commitment, to show up and together become Christ.
Right. I feel that it is, you know, what you share, I can experience in my marriage, that it is not about finding the person and everything is magic and perfect, but truly about having the courage to face vulnerability and go through the problems together and be able to become more of who we are. And it is hard work sometimes, but it's really worth it for sure.
It is harder. It is harder than the guru-student relationship.
Right.
You know, with the guru, you know that they're there to kick your butt. You know that, and you accept it. But when it's your partner, the ego is even more ferocious. The work is even more authentic. This is what people are missing. The work in relationship is more authentic than your time in the ashram with your guru.
Right. It's the day-to-day experience, the real everyday life.
Exactly.
It's not so meaningful, but it is the most powerful for sure.
Yep, it's the most honest. Yeah.
And today you will be sharing a transmission. I'm very excited about that. We will keep that for the end of the show, but thank you for that today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was wondering, what is the how would I say, the influence of the Egyptian civilization in our current sexuality? What would you say that has brought in the transformation of how we experience that relationship with sex at this moment?
Well, for me, my relationship with ancient Egypt, when I feel into what that could have been, I feel it was a time when the feminine energy came into a full expression. So I'm talking about male and female, not women only. And so when that happens, when the feminine rises in consciousness, we start to take on very feminine, potent attributes. And of course, sexuality, dance, massage, beauty, adornment, arts, poetry, theatre. This is all very, very feminine. And in ancient Egypt, the volume of that energy went to maximum.
Right.
It went into its most ecstatic state, and then it tipped over into distortion. And so sexuality done in a mystical way to praise God and to praise the kingdom and to praise all the families and all the babies of that land, it tipped and it started to become self-serving. So it was serving the priestesses, serving the pharaohs. It wasn't being shared, and it went into distortion. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a cycle of energy.
Right.
We had a similar problem in Atlantis, but this time it was masculine. Masculine energy rose to its epicenter, its height, and then it went into distortion. But during its heyday, during its golden era, those sexual practices moved into the Jewish people. And so the tradition kind of moved away from Egypt over into Israel. And then, of course, as time passed, the next woman to take it on would be who we know as Mary Magdalene. So this sexual mystical teaching is moving slowly around the planet, and now it's over here with us. It's in the West. You know, the States is picking up on it. England's picking up on it. France is absolutely picking up on it. It's in Europe and America.
And what is... Oh,
Mary Magdalene, as we understand, she was also a high priestess of Isis. And so this work that she gave expression to, this was coming from ancient Egypt. But back in its glory, back in its golden epoch, before the distortion. And so it's coming around again now, and that's why I said to you at the beginning of the interview, if we can do this together, male and female, masculine and feminine, we stand a chance. But if we do what we did 7,500 years ago, we just take it into the feminine expression only, we're going to have a situation on our hands.
Right, because right now we are in a very patriarchal energy, right? And
that's the trap. The trap is we're in the patriarchal age. Let's make everything feminine. Let's make it another matriarchy. But that just keeps things swinging from one to the other.
right.
This time we've got to do something different. Not patriarch, not matriarch.
Exactly. I love that. Let's do that. And right now you are in France, right?
Yeah, I live in the south of France.
Oh, beautiful. And it seems that there is a very, how would I say, like the energy there is very helpful for this work, for what I understand.
Potent. It is potent. This is, as legend would tell us, this is where Mary Magdalene came.
Wow.
After the crucifixion, she came into hiding. and she went into hiding near the Pyrenees, near to the border of Spain.
Wow.
This area has always been very mystical. It's the place where all the heretics of all time have come. This little bit of land in between Spain and France. It's a very rebellious area. It's known as the land of the rebels, the land of the heretics. And the word heretic simply means to choose. So she came here.
Wow.
And carried the teachings on.
And
So
you offer some,
here.
and you offer some workshops there, right? In France.
Well, I have a house here, and you know, a small bed and breakfast, which I can look after 10 people at a time.
Nice.
So I do very intimate small groups, Magdalene tours, Cathar tours, sacred sexuality retreats. And because it's in my own home, you see, everything's very safe. And everyone has that feeling of being held in a very safe and intimate environment. And of course, the land is just throbbing with Magdalene feminine expression.
Wow. And so important to have that very safe space that you are talking about, because I feel that in sexuality, we don't feel like it's something natural in our society. We don't feel that it's something that we can fully express. And sometimes we may have been abused by other people. And I feel
have been abused. Since I've been doing this work, it is unusual to find someone who hasn't been abused.
Wow.
Yeah. See, yeah. That was one of the biggest radical realizations I had once I started to work in this way. It's like, oh my gosh, everybody, from a very subtle sexual projection to a full inappropriate sexual act against your will. Male and female, all of us have had some form of abuse.
And it's such a...
You just kind of like swallow it and think it's normal. It's not normal. It needs to be healed. It needs to be comforted. That's my favorite word at the moment, by the way. I love that word.
Wonderful.
I'm trying to do at the house, you know. I'm trying to comfort these people.
Yes.
Take it back to that real innocent place.
And something that... Oh, please, go ahead.
Oh, no, that was it. That was it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Something that I discovered recently is that the word religion comes from religare, which means union in Latin. And the word yoga comes from yug.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Union as well. So all of this is talking about the union with the divine. Yes. And I have no idea, because religion always felt to me like nothing like that, but instead to go listen to the priest, you know. But now I understand that it is much more similar to yoga, for example, and I know that you are a Kundalini yoga teacher as well. So I feel that if we really read between lines, we can discover that most of the guidance all around the world was about becoming one with the divine.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. And this, you know, this ecstasy, the ecstatic part is the feminine part. When you look at some of the Bernini and Michelangelo sculptures of Saint Teresa of Avila, so she came from an order called the Carmelite nuns. These nuns were in ecstasy, Victoria. Their backs are arched. They're reaching up with their arm for something. They have beads of sweat rolling down their temples. Their hair is like wild, and they were in ecstasy.
Wow.
They were in ecstatic union with God, Christ. So, what's going on there? That needs to be unfolded. That needs to be looked at.
Right. So this may truly be the way of truly connecting and reaching with our full potential and are being one with everything else.
That's right. That's right.
This
Yeah.
primal force that we have redirected in such a bad way, and that we can now bring back to the center, all of us together.
That's right. If we can clear our relationship with this wild primordial force, you know, we can experience this pure, kind ecstasy.
Yes.
All it wants is to delight us. It wants to delight us and raise us up into rapture. But the thing is, in this era, mostly our connection with it is still like of a darker nature. Because we're afraid and we've put it away and we've made it bad, and this is only what the dark people do. So and that's just psychological. That's just like psychological ideas and wounds. That can be cleared. That can be cleared. Yeah. And then you open up to the, you know, the real great mother spirit.
Yeah. And then the importance of our bodies as pure temples for our light and our essence.
Yes.
For example, something I feel that we are disconnected from is our, as a woman myself, from our womb.
Yeah. Yeah.
From our menstruation. These are things that we kind of push away. You know, oh, menstruating, that's so bad and so uncomfortable or inconvenient. You know.
Right. That's right. This is all part of the patriarchal message. Sexuality is bad. Menstrual cycles are bad. Childbirth is bad. Desire is bad. Dancing is bad. You know, even yoga.
Oh my goodness.
Sometimes the church still imagines that yoga is a questionable pastime.
Wow.
So, you know, as the feminine spirit rises within us, we just start taking back our power. Yeah. And the womb is about life, it's about dance, it's about beauty. It's about, you know, expression, imbuing all of your surroundings with your feminine beauty and elegance and grace. And slowly, 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 all these things are returning to us.
Right. And you have healed yourself about a cervix problem, is that?
Well, right? That's how I got into it. Yeah, I had quite a few problems, gynecological problems, which brought my attention back to this area.
Wow.
I know. When I started my Kundalini yoga journey, I kind of jumped from my root chakra into my heart. So suddenly, hey, I'm a very heart-centered person. It's like love everywhere. I'd left behind sexuality.
Wow.
You know, and my past was very much in that sexual playground. My past was music and fashion and London. So I kind of jumped over everything and went straight into love and caress and, you know, gazing into people's eyes until I had some health problems and I had to return back to the second chakra again, that place again, and really unfold and unpack my sexual energy, me as a sexual woman, me and my sexual past, me and my partners, all the things I got up to, how I felt about sexuality as a child, my parents, and obviously my father is Catholic. What was Dad carrying? Oh yeah, there's a big story there. You know, in the Catholic, Irish Catholic ancestors, there's usually a very big sexual suppression. So everything had to come out and be breathed and cried through.
So what was the process like? How long it took for you to heal yourself?
About 8 months. But see, the thing is, I've always been blessed to not have a job.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm a Capricorn, so I'm very independent and I'm very driven by my own energy. So
no.
I've always got projects on the go. So when I went through this healing crisis, I had every day on my hands.
Wow.
I didn't have to go to work. I didn't have children to look after. I had 24 hours a day to do my inner work. And so it happened quite quickly, 6 to 8 months. But
Hmm.
that's every day, you
And do
know,
you, yeah.
and that's why it moved rather quickly. And I had a partner at the time who was able to walk this path with me. So we did our male female healing together.
Hmm.
We did our male female fighting together and our male female healing together. We just did it. We just took the bullet and we just rolled. Whatever needed to happen could happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I
And you know, early into this stage of healing the womb, we started to write the book together, Womb Wisdom.
huh.
So Womb Wisdom is coming from a very alive and authentic, in the moment place. So I
Oh.
co-wrote Womb Wisdom whilst going through this
Hmm.
womb healing.
Wow. So
Yeah.
I imagine this has been also kind of a shift in your perspective. So it's not just, okay, 8 months healing, but also maybe a change in your lifestyle.
Oh, absolutely. And then like an inspiration. So once I got the all clear from the hospital, now I'm full of this energy that just wants to tell every woman and girl that crosses my path. Because as I'm healing, I'm also experiencing the mystical parts. And
Mm.
you've got to remember, you see, I made a choice at a very early age that I was not going to have children in this lifetime. And so I had sort of written my womb off because I
Wow.
thought it was only about having babies and having a period. I was like, I don't really know what it's for. But as I do all this healing, suddenly at night, you know, dreaming and in prayer, oh my gosh, this like lineage of ancient mothers, this ancient feminine wisdom starts to make itself known, and it's not coming from here. It's not the third eye. This is not the upper chakras. This is coming from my belly. So,
Wow.
I just wanted to tell everyone about it.
Amazing. You
Yeah.
know, and I heard in some shamanic African practices that
Yeah.
really for women, the womb is the place where they can find their intuition so much.
Absolutely. And this abominable, unmoving power.
Hmm.
And not like a power that's forceful or aggressive, but a power that you just don't question. When a woman is speaking from her womb and she is being very clear and very strong, you do not question her. It's called, sitting on your throne. She is speaking from a place of loving authority.
Beautiful.
And it is beautiful to behold when you see that, or when you feel it, when it happens to you, you're like, wow, wow,
Oh.
it's wonderful.
And I noticed that you always speak with so much energy and intention and love and nourishment. Every single of your videos, it
Yeah,
really carries that.
yeah, yeah.
Are you normally focusing on that area?
Yeah. Well, likewise, look at you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm still discovering this aspect of really my divine feminine because I was a tomboy all my life,
Yeah.
wanting to be a man all my life. Not a true man, of course, but I feel that I really left out a lot of my feminine aspects. So
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same for me, Victoria. I wanted to be a boy. And
Mm.
I was very, very male in my teenage. I was like a punk. I was like, I tried to make myself as frightening as possible. You
Yeah,
know,
me
purple
too.
hair, no studs, black eyes. I tried to make myself look ugly. I wanted to shock people. I wanted people to change the path, not walk past me. So it's really, late 20s that I kind of went, oh, I'm female.
Oh,
And
wow.
then everything just turned. Now I want to be sexy. Now I want to be beautiful.
Hmm.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. And talking a little bit more about how we can heal ourselves by understanding our sexuality.
Yeah.
Something that comes to mind is how many women have problems with their breasts, with breast cancer.
Yeah.
What do you think that this can be happening? Maybe something also about not embracing our feminine aspect?
Yeah. I don't I don't have too much to say on breasts apart from, again, just my own opinion. Obviously, they're in the area as the heart center.
Hmm.
So as a yogi, it has to be connected to the heart.
Right.
It has to be connected to love and forgiveness and
Hmm.
acceptance and all of those soft, gentle, fragile feelings. Maybe children, birthing, nourishing, nurturing. And I would say, in the fast pace world of the West, there's probably not much of that going on. That real nurturing moments,
Hmm.
those, mother and child moments. But, really, I can't speak on this subject because I haven't had the experience.
Right. So this work is more about the lower chakras.
Yes, I'm more second chakra lady.
Sounds good. Well, I can really use some help on that chakra. I feel
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And how this work connects with Mother Earth, because when we talk about this nourishment and this creative
Yes.
energy, I feel that Mother Earth has to be a very important aspect of this work. Not sure.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Well, another a way you can work with Mother Earth, Mother Nature, is once your sexual area in your womb has become retrieved and activated and like taken into your heart, this is part of me. And this is what I do. I go to sacred sites or just beautiful places in nature and I sit. So I sit on the earth, or I sit on a rock, or I sit on a tree, and that is where I make my connection.
Mm.
So I feel what it is I'm sitting on, send my energy down, and commune and, scan and look and feel and hear all on the inside. What is it that the mother is asking of me?
Mm.
Is there anything I need to do here in this site? Is she asking for some sort of human interaction? So
Wow.
that is how I work with my womanness and the mother.
And did you hear of the idea that in the beginning humans were androgynous and then there was the
Yeah,
separation?
yeah,
Yes, did you hear about
yeah.
that?
What for me that's connected to Lemuria. So
Okay.
Lemuria was like one of the first most highly advanced human civilizations, but we were an androgynous race. We
Wow.
actually did not have genitals. We were
Mm.
all the same. And apparently, what I understand, we're very elongated, which makes me imagine the characters of Avatar.
Wow.
And we were like a light being. We didn't actually have flesh and bone and blood.
Mm.
We were more like a luminescent, androgynous, elongated, beautiful heart being. But as evolution does its things, as things evolve, we became more dense. And within that oneness, within that androgyny, we began to literally create genitals, differences, and then there was a separation. And then we're two. One male, one female.
So you feel we're moving towards becoming androgynous again?
I do. I feel maybe in our lifetime, maybe not, maybe in a couple more generations, I do not feel that the actual Lingam and Yoni sexual intercourse act will be something that is still happening. To me, that's very Stone Age. Great. Don't get me wrong, it's great. I love it. But I believe we will move into more advanced, more subtle, more cosmic. You know, it will be a whole body sexual intercourse. Not just these little objects down at the second chakra. You know, you can like literally touch hands and way.
Oh, right.
You know, and the kiss, for me, the kiss is the most. I love kissing.
Yeah.
So much potential in the kiss.
And I feel that it's not just that we localize sexuality so much in just the sexual organs, but that we can so much expand into our light bodies. As you were mentioning about light bodies, I feel that there is so much interaction when we are in lovemaking.
Yeah.
That maybe we don't even need that physical connection, even though it's wrong.
That's right. Yeah. I was speaking to there's a guy called Ashar Murray. He's on the West Coast. And we were talking about sexuality. And he said, you know, sexuality's only function at this moment is to open the heart.
Wow.
And I looked and went, yeah, you're totally right. You know, sexuality's most spiritual potential is to open one another's heart. And I don't mean like prise it open. I mean full open, Christed, sacred heart.
Beautiful.
So I kind of like held that inside of me, and it's made a huge difference. You know, the goal, because you know us humans, there's always a little bit of a goal. So can the goal be not how many orgasms I can have, not how erect and lasting I can have? Can I open my heart, and can I help serve the opening of my partner's heart?
Wow.
That's nice.
Beautiful.
That's a nice way to enter business.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel that men are interested in this work? Because I feel in general, yes.
Well, it's mostly women at the moment. But the men who carry the more feminine energy, they are most definitely interested in this as well. Most definitely. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And where you are, West Coast, oh my God. I met loads of guys who are into this.
Really? Okay, because I don't know about sexuality, like sacred sexuality, but for example, my healing classes, mostly women.
Yeah, I know.
And I think we really need men to come into this game as well. Sacred sexuality.
Absolutely. They're coming. Excuse the pun. They are on their way.
And do you feel that, for example, I feel that our femininity, I don't know what is the word, but our expression of the feminine aspect many times is connected to a certain standard, maybe because of the media. And
it's patriarchy again. You know, the models, the fashion magazines, Hello magazine, everybody being airbrushed and perfect. This is not, a woman is not doing this. the feminine is not presenting this face, this perfect, youthful, false face. This is the distortion of the masculine still.
Wow.
And this is yet another trap, another tactic to keep us away from our own self-love, self-value, self-beauty.
Right.
You know, because we open up the magazines, and if you're carrying this wound, you're just going to go into your own body hatred, your own sex hatred, and your own compare and contrast against your female, your sister. This is the trap.
Wow.
And we buy into it. We try and be more beautiful, more slim, more young, more tight, more, you know.
Right.
And it's a flipping trap. And we think we're doing it to be beautiful, to be feminine. No, we're feeding this death machine.
Right. Who
If we
invented the machine?
the death machine.
So how can a woman truly feel confident to express herself in a way that doesn't necessarily fit those standards? I imagine that comes a lot from really working on grounding oneself.
Well, you got to remember, I was in the fashion business.
Right.
I was a fashion designer. I was feeding the death machine.
Yes, I was too. I was in television for years, working in television.
Right. So the way I found my comfort in my own body was actually through dance.
Wow.
Something simple, you know, like 5 rhythms. Be a dancer. I discovered, you know, I'm small. I'm like 5'2.5". That half is very important, by the way. I have quite a curvaceous figure. So according to the magazines, I am short, and, you know, I'm not slim. I have boobs and I've got a butt. So, you know, I'm wrong. According to the fashion magazines, I'm totally wrong. But in my dance, I am pure woman. I feel enormous. I feel gorgeous and big and warm and juicy. That is how I cultivated the love of my body, of my sexuality, of my form. Because if I'd have stayed with the fashion magazines, I'm a write-off. I'm too small to be beautiful. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's something that we impose to ourselves, because I think men don't like as much the very skinny women.
Oh, they totally want to hold on to something. Especially if there's some very big energy inside. You know, if the heart is open, if the womb is open, if you've cleared your sex hatred, your body hatred, if you love yourself, that you can feel it through the skin. You can feel it in the touch. You know, you must have had this experience. When a man touches you, if he's open, you can feel it.
Right.
If he's closed, but the world's greatest masseuse, you will not feel anything. Yes, he has a nice technique, but if his heart is open, if his nadis and, you know, chakras are open, he can touch you and you're like, oh, hello. Obviously, it's the same for us. You know?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a lot of becoming aware of our potential, who we are, because I feel that we have infinite potential in our sexual energy, and it has been so misused.
Yeah.
But if we truly start connecting with that, and with respect, of course, not just abusing it, because that is, in fact, what I feel like it has been happening, most of the abuse towards that energy.
Yeah.
But if we start honoring that, and any recommendations you would have for somebody that feels that lush and wants to go into sex but wants to transcend into lovemaking?
Yes. Say that again. Say that question
Yeah.
again.
So what would you recommend for someone that wants to transcend into lovemaking but feels the lust and the impulse to go into just having sex?
Right, right, right. Well, we have to remember, as a woman, this is so important. Women open up to their male partner. So not woman-woman relationship, woman and male partnerships. So women have to realize that when they allow someone into them through sexual intercourse, they are taking on the emotional condition of that man in that moment. And when I first heard this, I was like, oh God. I remember the amount of drunken sex I had,
Oh, wow.
loveless sex I had, sex to make up. You know, when communication has broken down, let's have sex. That'll bring us closer together.
Wow.
So it was like, oh. But that doesn't mean that we, judge ourselves.
Right.
We are the receptacles. We are receptive. We open and we allow energies in. So we have to remember, number one, we take on the emotional condition of the male. And we're already taking on the emotional condition of ourselves. We also take on the energy of the environment. So this can be another, like, oh no, because, people make love in toilets and nightclubs and outside and back of the cars and
Oh my
mum and dad's bed.
God.
I think at this first stage, the most important thing to realize for women is that there is a lot more going on than you may have already realized. Yeah.
Right.
And, just to be conscious of what you're doing. Is this what I want to take on?
Right.
Yeah.
And for how would that be affecting men? Because I see here that we are the ones bringing all these energies in. So how would it be for men when they are practicing sex in a way that is unconscious in a sense?
Well, for a male is penetrating energy. So their energy is forward moving and ours is receptive. So ours is coming in.
Right.
For a male, he doesn't take on the energy of the woman. So he can make love all day, all night, and nothing touches him energetically.
Wow.
However, he is not able to receive if he is entering a woman who is disconnected.
Huh.
So the male's potential is to receive ecstatic life force, love, comfort, blessings, good health, holiness, inspiration, meeting his muse. So inside of a woman, when she's open and giving, she has the whole universe inside of her.
Wow.
The male can come into her and she knows because she's consciously giving. So it's not as if the male is taking. She is just overflowing and wants to give all of herself to him. So as he comes in, he can receive all of this creative energy.
Wow.
But if the woman is disconnected, there's nothing there.
Huh.
And that can be the seed of argument or frustration or aggression. Because deep in his consciousness, he knows he is supposed to go there to receive something from the feminine. Something very primordial, very mystical, very healing, and very loving. And if he goes into an empty, cold place, deep in his psyche, he is going to feel, and you can't even put words around it. But you can feel it, right? You can imagine how he feels.
And I feel that that may be what makes that insatiable thirst for more sex, maybe.
And in France, they call it le petit mort. So the orgasm, le petit mort, which means the mini death.
Oh,
Now, why would they call it that? Is it because the male comes into the female and there's nothing there? And so there's a death, there's this emptiness. And the same, you know, we orgasm, we have fantastic, fantastic, fantastic orgasms, but then at the end of the day, when it really is a moment between you and God, there is this kind of like, because, you know, we're only 5% engaged with the sexual act. Of course we feel like mini deaths.
Right.
No one showed us how to do it.
And the funny thing is that that 5% we think is everything.
I know.
We don't have any idea of the potential of this.
Exactly.
Wow.
And we're all in it together. And even, you know, people like me who's facilitating this, am I at 90%? No way.
Oh.
All the big Tantra teachers, are they at 90%? You know, the big famous big names of Tantra, sacred sexuality, have they got the answers? Are they doing it in this new way? No. Because there are no teachers out there. I feel we are instructing and helping each other.
Right.
And that's another thing with the Tantra movement. You know, we project onto each other, you are Shiva, I am Shakti, we are about to have incredible lovemaking. And when it doesn't happen, and, you know, 8 times out of 10 it doesn't happen because it's all projection, then we feel terrible with ourselves. You know, we think we haven't read enough books, we haven't been to enough workshops, there's something very, very wrong with us sexually, because we've been taught to project. You know, you are the embodiment of Shiva, I am the embodiment of Shakti. We are praying to the divine. We are about to have mind-blowing ecstatic sex. And no one has mentioned anything about emotions and psychology and environment. And of course, when it doesn't happen, we go into another crash cycle. So even Tantra doesn't have the answers.
Right.
You know.
And I feel that with the work that we are doing, especially you and the people that is truly involved in this at the moment, we are bringing more potential for the whole collective to tune into those frequencies of true bliss.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. This is like a family thing.
Yes.
We are all in it together. We're learning from one another. Each partner, each teacher, each book, each healing. Share with your friends, share away, and we help each other.
Beautiful. And for the relationship between us and our origins, so for example, if we think of the situation of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, and our relationship also with the tree of life, the tree of knowledge, and the burning bush. What do you think are our relationships with all of these different aspects?
I don't understand. Say.
Yeah. So, what would be our relationship with these aspects? Like how, let's say, how influences our current experience regarding sex what happened in the Garden of Eden, in the relationship with the tree of knowledge, the tree of life, and the burning bush. It may be a little bit of a complex question, and also I'm translating in my mind how I say it in Spanish.
Right. Yeah. Well, I feel, again, my own opinion, I feel something, whether this is a real Garden of Eden or whether it's just a metaphor for the soul, you know, for our own psyche. Doesn't matter. I feel there is definitely a sexual act involved. So something to do with sexuality triggered off this shift.
Right.
You know, maybe we were in a state of innocence. Maybe we were a pure soul. And the sexuality piece triggered off a process. Religion tells us we fell. Right. You know, we went into darkness. We did something wrong, and so we were punished. I don't buy into that. But I do feel that perhaps our evolution away from innocence into distortion, into ignorance, let's just say ignorance, could have been triggered off by an unconscious or subconscious sexual act that led to this ignorance. So what we could do, we could summarize and say, we descended from the Garden of Eden through the gateway of sex, which means we can ascend.
Yes.
Through the gateway of sex back into the Garden of Eden.
Right. So maybe it's all of this about.
Yeah.
Maybe
it's like a swing door. It can go either way. You can use sexuality for an ecstatic, rapturous experience with the divine, or swing the door the other way and use it as a, you know, depraved, narcissistic, fully lustful experience to go the other way, to go into separation, maybe, you know, aggression. You know, I'm talking the other way. So the door of sex, it swings both ways. What are we going to use it for? To ascend or to descend?
Yes. And we are in a time of ascension, so
we totally are. We're into ascending around here.
Beautiful.
Descending.
Well, Anaiya, thank you so much for sharing all of this, and I feel that it is a perfect time now for that beautiful transmission that you're going to share. Can you share about what is a transmission, how it works, how people can receive it?
Well, a transmission is it's like a light code that gets sent to you through my voice, which touches your feelings, so touches your emotionality, your heart, your feeling nature. And then once we make that connection between my voice and your feelings, the light, and remember, the light is not coming from me. The light is being triggered off from inside of you, so inside of your own soul. So all you're doing is you are giving yourself the permission to relax, to lie down, to listen, to open, and you will catalyze your own light inside of you, and you may feel something.
Wow, that makes sense.
It's kind of like mystical storytelling.
Mm.
Again, you know, an old tradition, almost forgotten, but not quite. So how much time do we actually have?
Whatever you feel comfortable with. Yeah.
10 minutes?
That's perfect.
Okay. Now, are you going to receive, or are you going to stay there?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, I'm ready.
Alrighty. So I'm going to just be closing my eyes now.
Okay.
So, dearest listeners, what I suggest is if it's appropriate, if you can, for you to lie down, or otherwise just carry on sitting in your chair or on the floor, wherever you find yourself. And whether you're male or female, place your hands over your pubic area, forming a diamond between your thumb and your first finger. So your first finger would be resting over the pubic bone, and your thumbs are just below the belly button. And let's just take this time together with our eyes closed to just breathe long and deep through the nostrils, slowly, allowing any tension in the body to just melt. And for any excessive mind activity to quieten down. And to be open and curious. Can this work? Can this transmission truly be received in this way? So your nature becomes curious and almost childlike. Little tinge of excitement, little tinge of apprehension. As you come into feeling communion with the body, which means you feel the breath coming in and how that makes you feel. So you feel the breath coming in physically, but you also feel the quality of life force coming in. And you're turning your sensitivity to this life force. And you're really giving yourself this permission for the next 10 minutes. I am staying here with this process, with this group of souls that I'm connected with on this radio show, this moment, right here, right now. And as you breathe, imagine that you can see a little flicker of a flame inside the real core of your sexuality, whether you're a man or a woman. And it's a little golden flame. And this golden flame is a symbol of your soul. And it's full of all the goodness that you are. The goodness, the kindness, the power, your allegiance to truth, your allegiance to your purpose. So every time you breathe, that flame gets stronger. And because this is the flame of your soul, there is a maturity and an acceptance and an ancient wisdom that comes with this. And the soul knows that there are many expressions of your sexuality and that you are completely accepting of the fullness of your sexual nature. Whether it's wild and passionate and hot, like the molten core of the volcano of Pele, or whether it's very soft and fragile and delicate and sweet, or whether it has more of the primordial longings and yearnings of nature. And whether it's being offered as some kind of holy, comforting, merciful initiation, the deep, mature wisdom of your soul and all your lifetimes can open to the fullness of your sexual self without the lens of duality. Because it's the soul, there's no judgment, there's no blame. And as the warmth of this flame expands, it begins to melt all forms of body hatred that you may be carrying from this lifetime in 2015, of something that's been carried over through the mother line. And this fullness of who you are just begins to melt these psychological judgments we may have agreed to. Sex hatred, body hatred, distrust of the opposite gender, distrust of sexuality, limitation around sexuality, deadness of sexuality, disheartened sexuality, illusioned sexuality, fear of pregnancy, fear of childbirth, impotency, disgust of what genitalia may look like. All of that just slides away, because the magnificence of your soul is in your sexual center. All the codes that you're carrying, the Christ codes, the Egyptian codes, the deep African codes, the Celtic codes, whatever it is you're carrying, that is dissolving all of this conditioned, patriarchal disconnect from this glorious place within us. So as the breath keeps coming in, very wide space begins to open up inside of you. That is wide and warm and rich and powerful and full of life and full of potential, full of love and truth and wisdom, mystical wisdom. Things you can't quite wrap words around, but you know, there's this inherent knowing. You know you're part of some kind of soul lineage. You know you're here to birth something from this place. A non-physical offspring, perhaps, as well as physical offspring. The womb and the Hara is a place of birth, a place of loving, a place of healing, a place of creating. That your throne is here, the Queen's throne is here, the King's throne is here. Plateaus of power that we sit upon. Not a power that excludes anybody, but a power that includes everybody. This is what it really means to be a king or a queen. And so as we carry on breathing together, let these words come in and touch something fertile within you. So these words can take seed and lead to something. being nourished by your breath and your yes and your welcome. Let these words go into any places that carry judgment, sexual blame, sexual guilt, sexual shutdown, disconnect. And as we return back to our hands, take a few breaths to really imbue the palm of your hands with blessings. Feel as if your body is blessing your sexual energy. That your heart, your soul, your real and true and incorruptible essence has now finally come to this place, and you are blessing yourself. That this could be the moment of an evolutionary shift. This is the moment where something inside of you shifts. A line is drawn in the sand. A choice is taken. A decision has been made. My sexual energy is sacred, intensely healing, powerfully loving, blesses, heals, loves, and comforts all aspects of life from this moment onwards. When you feel that this has been really and deeply received inside of you, allow yourself to come back to wakeful consciousness. Gently opening your eyes and welcoming in your surroundings. So you open the eyes and you just welcome all that you see. And I see a very beautiful lady in a fabulous pink dress. I am a very lucky person because this is the first thing that I see.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. I can feel like a palpitation in my womb.
Yes,
And I
yes.
see more light all around it. Even looking at the screen, I see more light and around.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's just a little mini one.
Oh, and I know that in your website you offer also some transmissions. Your website, anayasophia.com?
That's right. Yeah. Usually a transmission experience is about an hour long. So this
Wow.
was just like a little mini one, a mini taster.
Wow. I can imagine how powerful that is.
Well, yeah. I mean, usually you're in the dark, you have maybe a little candle burning. So you really set the place up
Oh,
for,
wow.
like an hour submersion into the mystical world.
Wow. Thank you so much for offering this today.
Oh, thank you for you're the one who said do it. You're the inspiration. You're the muse.
This is wonderful. I'm sure that all of our listeners and viewers are going to be enjoying this beautiful energy.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay. So once again, for those wanting to continue working with Anaiya, her website is anayasophia.com.
That's right. Very simple, my full name. Yeah.
And any message that you want to leave our audience with, or?
Just the reminder, again, I feel this era is about union. Masculine and feminine energy inside of ourselves in union, so no struggle, not shutting one aspect down and building up another. Harmonious union within, seeking and working towards a harmonious union without the external partner. And then, of course, this union within the embodied parts of us, which is the mother aspect, and the transcendent. So the cosmic, the prayerful, the meditative part of us, which is the father aspect. So union, union, union. That is my message. Let's do this together in union.
Wow.
And just bring this whole duality thing to an end.
Yes, let's do that together for sure.
Yes.
Well, once again, thank you so much for being here today.
I've enjoyed every nanosecond.
Wonderful. Okay, so thank you also to our listeners and to the people viewing this video. And we will be back next week. Bye.
God bless you, Victoria. Bye.
Divine sacred goddess that lies within, awaken my wisdom, awaken my gifts. May all of your blessings shine through me. May all of your nurturing rain